everybody, welcome to week 3 of the college football season. My name is Mike Browning. I'm the host of the College Football Road Trip at CFBRoadtrip.com. I am coming to you this week from the city of Oxford, Ohio, the home of the Miami Redhawks for this weekend's game between Cincinnati and Miami of Ohio. I'll be picking that game at the end. I've had a great week so far here in the Ohio area. Spent a few days up in Toledo and now down here in Oxford. We'll spend a couple days in Dayton as well as we go to the end of this week. It's been a fun time, a lot of great things. Obviously, I will be writing about them all in my blog in the upcoming week or two. With all that said, let's go ahead and jump into the week 3 picks. We're going to start off with a Friday night game between two ranked teams. We have number 20 Arizona traveling to 14th ranked Kansas State. This should be a really good game. These are two teams that will be competing in the Big 12 Conference. I think the Big 12 is wide open this year as far as who can make it to the championship game at the end, especially with Cam Rising out now at Utah. That kind of opens things up even more. And this will be kind of a first true test for Arizona as they head into the Big 12 and start conference play there. Kansas State is a team that, since they're playing at home and they have a more established team and an established coach, I think that's going to give them the edge in this one. I think they will come away with the win. I have Kansas State winning at home against Arizona on Friday night. Moving on to our Saturday games. Our first one is an early edition of the Apple Cup out of the state of Washington. We have Washington State traveling to Seattle to play the Washington Huskies. This should be another really good game. Obviously, this is no longer a Pac-12 matchup with Washington off to the Big Ten. I think Washington is the better team. They're definitely not as good as they were last year. Washington State is undefeated on the year, but they really haven't had a great competition, although they did win last week. With all that said, I think Washington will win this one, especially being the home team. I have Washington winning at home over Washington State. Next, let's go down the road to California. We have a Big Ten conference matchup. We have Indiana playing UCLA. I think Indiana's been one of the surprise teams so far this year as far as the way that they've been able to dominate the games they've had so far. I think they're actually a slight favorite in this game. They are traveling to California. That's a long trip. UCLA playing in the Rose Bowl. I think it's a chance for UCLA to kind of try to show that they can compete at least somewhat in the Big Ten. With that said, I think that they will be able to come out and win this one. So a slight upset, at least as far as the way the points match up. I have UCLA winning at home over Indiana. For our next one, let's go to a Big 12 matchup. We have UCF traveling to TCU. Again, two undefeated teams so far this year. UCF has looked really good so far. TCU struggled some against Stanford, but was able to pull away at the end. This is another one of those teams where, again, the Big 12 is wide open. So either of these teams could end up in the Big 12 championship at the end of the year if the cards play in their favor. With that said, TCU is the home team in this one, and in toss-up games, I usually give the edge to the home team, so the Horned Frogs in this one. I have TCU winning at home over UCF. Next, let's go to a matchup that is a little more interesting than it probably should have been based on what happened last week. We have 18th ranked Notre Dame traveling to Purdue. So obviously the big news out of week 2 games was Notre Dame's loss to Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois being able to block Notre Dame's long field goal attempt at the end to pull off the win. With that said, they're going to go into Purdue. They're going to want to have a sense of vengeance in this one. With all that said, I think they will be able to do it. Purdue is just not in the top tier of the Big Ten. Notre Dame is going to want to come back big. So I have 18th ranked Notre Dame winning on the road at Purdue. Next, let's go to an SEC conference matchup. We have 16th ranked LSU traveling to South Carolina. If you would have asked me about this game last week, I probably would have, picked LSU in a heartbeat. But South Carolina, after, what happened to them with Old Dominion a couple of weeks ago, they came out and they dominated Kentucky last week, which was a bit of a surprise. Not that they won, but they actually blew them out. LSU is obviously coming off their loss to USC in week 1. You're going to want to come out against this team, show that they can be competitive in the SEC. I think they'll be able to do it. South Carolina put all their eggs into their week 2 basket. The question is, will they have anything left over? I think it will be a competitive matchup. I think LSU will find a way to win in the end. 16th ranked LSU wins at South Carolina. Next, let's go back to a former Pac-12 matchup. We have Oregon traveling to Oregon State. These are the two teams that I watched at the end of last year. Is a really great time in Oregon. Oregon State, to me, and Riser Stadium was one of the best college football stadiums I've ever been to. It's kind of small, but it's intimate and it's really new, and it's a lot of fun. Oregon has really struggled both weeks, both against Idaho and against Boise State, but they found a way to win. At some point, they're going to have to put things together, and there's no better week to do it than against their rival this week. Oregon State is a good team, but they're not going to be as strong as they were last year when they were ranked. Oregon, like I said, has to put it together going into Big Ten play. This is their last chance to do it, so I have them with the win. I have number 9 Oregon winning at Oregon State. Next, let's go to Wisconsin. We have number 4 Alabama traveling to take on the Badgers in Madison. Alabama is a team that struggled a little bit against South Florida last week until they poured it on into the fourth quarter. Wisconsin is a team that really doesn't have a lot of hype around them this year in the Big Ten, especially with teams like USC and Oregon moving over, making a different upper tier of the Big Ten. Alabama, after the tight call last week, is gonna want to come into this game and dominate from start to finish, and I think they will be able to do it. I have number 4 Alabama winning on the road at Wisconsin. Next, let's go to another ranked versus ranked matchup. We have number 24 Boston College traveling to number 6 Missouri. Boston College is obviously one of the surprise teams so far this year with the big win against Florida State. They followed that up with a huge win also last week. Missouri is a team that is quietly number 6 in the country. They've looked good so far this year. The question is, as deep as the SEC is, one of these SEC teams is going to have to lose along the way. And it might be Missouri, but they have to be able to go into conference play with a dominant record to be able to do that. That means they have to come away with a win this week, and I think that they will do it. I have number 6 Missouri winning at home over 24th ranked Boston College. And then finally, our last game of the week, the game that I will be at is Cincinnati at Miami of Ohio in Oxford. This was obviously a surprise last year when Miami was able to go to Cincinnati and pull off the upset win. The question is, will they be able to do a second straight time? Cincinnati is coming off a loss last week against Pittsburgh, where they had the lead but blew it in the end. Miami had a close loss to Northwestern in week 1 before looking really good last week. The question is, will Lightning hit twice? And to me, the answer is no. I think it will be a very competitive matchup. Miami is still one of the class teams of the MAC, but Cincinnati is not going to want to lose to this team twice in a row. So with that said, I have Cincinnati winning at Miami here in Oxford. Again, Oxford is a beautiful city. It's been a great couple of days here. I'll be checking some things out around here as well as in Dayton before I head back home this weekend after the game on Saturday. So with that said, everybody go enjoy the week 3 games, everyone, and we will talk to all of you again next week.